My name is Jonathan Norman from the Major Projects Knowledge Hub, and as part of our digital scrapbook on design for manufacturing and assembly, I'm asking Simon Addyman and Graham Thomson for their views on innovative procurement and smart contracting.
My name's Simon Addyman. I am a project programme manager and a visiting lecturer at University College London. I think contracts are an outcome of what we're trying to buy, and what we're trying to buy is driven by the problem we're trying to solve. And once we understand our problem, we build our business case around our problem, and that really defines the value we're trying to generate. So I think that there are multiple types of contracts that are available, multiple different procurement routes that are available, and I wouldn't like to start suggesting any one of those was particularly appropriate for any one particular situation. There is no doubt that technology, the general environment, is becoming somewhat more complex, maybe, certainly driven by digitalisation, and of course we know that from many industry reports that have been done over the years that the nature of construction projects is that they generally contain high degrees of uncertainty and interdependence, and that causes us to create innovative things, to think about different ways of working, how we're going to communicate, exchange information, what are the roles that we as individuals take. And sometimes when we create contracts, we try and formalise all that and buy knowledge in very distinct individual domains, and think that, well, I bought an architect and I bought an engineer, so somehow they're going to work together. Whereas actually when we move our thinking towards how we create capable organisations through different patterns of action, through that communication, to reduce that uncertainty, we start to maybe think about, well, actually we need contracts that can find that balance between buying that knowledge and that service and the way we integrate those different people together. And sometimes we still buy those in very segregated individual units.
Good.
My name's Graham Thomson. I'm the CEO of Vinitext. I start from the position when I look at contracting, saying that if over the last 25 years we've only improved productivity in the construction industry by 1%, then there's room for improvement. And contracting strategies and procurement strategies are a significant part of that. So we've talked before about using things like project alliancing, which has now been around for well over 20 years, and has produced some quite remarkable results. Not fit for every project, of course, but the most recent one in the UK, I think, is the Network Rail Stafford Area Improvement Alliance, which came in a year ahead of schedule, 25% of budget, which is quite remarkable in terms of delivery compared to the original project estimates. But looking to the future, there's lots of areas that you can target. So what are we trying to achieve in our strategy? If you look at the on-costs of the current contracting strategy of Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, they're talking about 50% on-costs for the actual cost of delivery of the service. So contracting strategy somehow has got to deal with that. And evolving technologies such as blockchain and the like, they've got a part to play in that. So I use a very simple level of blockchain example. There's people talking at the moment about 120-day payment terms. Smart contract over the Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3 could reduce 120 days to 120 seconds, or that level. So they're the sorts of simple steps that you can have that show that smart contracts and the like can make a big difference. And then if you look at driving innovation, then as blockchain develops, then you have decentralised autonomous organisations, DAOs, and they ought to be able to come together in an innovative environment at the early stage of the project when you've got the biggest opportunity to actually impact the project price. So I think that it's incumbent on our industry and the key players to be actively pursuing those technologies because they exist and they're being developed, and we just need to take advantage of them.
I think clients, so we come back to the business case, don't we?
Absolutely.
Because clients have to buy that. I think that's the point. Clients have to recognise that's going to give them value.
Absolutely.
In their business case. They're going to get better performance. So we need to understand how we can relate that performance coming out of those the technologies and the things that you've talked about, Graham. Clients need to understand that they can get better performing projects out of that. They can get better benefit. They can reduce their cost in a number of different ways. They need to understand what that means in their business case. They need to write those things in their business case so they can go out and buy those things. And if they're buying them, the market will innovate and bring them forward. And if you say we want to buy, I don't know, we want to buy payment terms of 120 seconds, and you can, if you can give us that, you'll get X percentage points in your evaluation. Then the market will go out and innovate and say, okay, well, we as a supply chain, let's self-organise ourselves into a supply chain that does that. Absolutely. We're going to pay ourselves within our supply chain. We're going to guarantee payment straight away. Yeah. And then you can buy that but the client has to buy it.
You're right, it's got to be led by the client for sure, doesn't it? So but if the client says, well, I don't want to pay 50% markup, I don't want to do that. So to use the supply chain, what's the answer to that? How do we work together to come to a different model? Because what's been happening over the last 20 or more years, keep rolling out the same forms of contract and expecting somehow that well, that's why you've only had 1% improvement. So you've got to shift beyond that to actually say there's some fundamental opportunities here that we can change. But it has to be client driven.
And then we start to say, well, we're trying to remove the disbenefit.
Yes.
So the disbenefit is I'm paying on costs. So you tender for what you doesn't maybe sound quite right, but you tender for what you don't want. These are the constraints. We want to go and buy a supply chain, and what we don't want is a 120-day payment.
So that's right.